Shout Thomas, everyone!
Good evening, everyone. Gosh, I'm finding I really have to make some adjustments tonight. I spent all day hanging out with 12 to 15-year-old kids. Now, don't worry, I am a teacher. Some of you look more worried. Now, I assure you, I teach at an excellent school. It has a solid reputation, and I'm really good with kids. So, spending all day surrounded by these people who are 12 to 15 years old, these people who are so impressionable and so imaginative and so short. It makes me feel like the biggest, strongest man in the world. You know, I felt even bigger and stronger when I stopped at one of those street restaurants on my way over. You know, the ones where you sit in a toddler's patio chair and drink beer off a coffee table out of a tiny little glass. You know, one of those restaurants where the wait staff are all 12 to 15 years old. So you can imagine it would be an adjustment for me to find myself surrounded by all you wonderful, fully grown people. You know, I feel like Superman if he went back to Krypton, you know? Now look, I know Superman's home planet was destroyed, but I just think it would have been awkward if it hadn't been for Superman to go back and hang out with his own kind. You know, he would have been in bars trying to talk to beautiful Kryptonian women who are probably even stronger than him, being all like, hey, have you ever heard of Earth? I'm really popular on Earth. It's an excellent planet, has a solid reputation, really good with humans. Anyways, so as of tomorrow, I will have been living here in Cambodia for a whole year. Thank you. Oh, marvelous. And so it doesn't seem like that long, but apparently a year is long enough for me to forget so much about stuff back home that used to really annoy me that now I've started to become homesick for it. You know? Stuff like driving myself places, you know? Having cops who actually do their jobs, you know? Using coins. I've forgotten so much about coins, I can't even remember what they look like. You know, out on the street, I'm always excitedly picking up what turn out to be wristwatch batteries and bottle caps. Local people, they'll either laugh at my mistake, or they'll just look at me like, oh, is he collecting scrap metal? Anyways, I miss coins, but I do love using real instead, you know? I love how you can run around out here with a wad of thousands of real. You know, it's like being able to spend Monopoly money in real life. A big part of me wants to take it down to the bank and use it to buy Boardwalk. A bigger part of me knows it's probably already been sold to a Chinese developer. Or that some Korean developers have built half a hotel on it and abandoned the project. If you'll continue to indulge me in this awesome board game metaphor, I guess half a hotel in Monopoly would be one of those little red houses that nobody can ever afford, which is also fitting for a Korean building project. My brother and I were looking at apartments here in town, and we found one that seemed like the perfect place for us. It seemed like a place that had everything we needed. You know, it got really good light, had a nice big balcony that seemed like it could accommodate a lot of ladies. And so we talked to the landlord about it. He said, oh yeah, you know, it's a great place, it gets good light. The balcony will accommodate a lot of ladies? And he said, and for 3 years, no ghosts. Now, of course, I found it unsettling that he would think to mention ghosts in the first place. But what I found even more unsettling was his choice of words. After 3 years, no ghosts, not only implies that there were ghosts there 3 years ago, but it fails to make any promises about future ghosts. All he was really saying was, the pattern we've observed recently has been one of no ghosts. It's not very reassuring. So we ended up going with a different place. We got a place with an even bigger balcony that can accommodate even more ladies, in theory. Yeah, so I love my place now, but we did get robbed there once. A lady friend of mine was over, and we were watching a video of my stand-up comedy. And it was so hilarious. She was laughing. We were laughing so hard that it served as the perfect diversion for a burglar to climb up onto our back balcony, reach in through the window, and steal a bunch of stuff out of her purse. So she seemed peeved that they'd taken her wallet and her iPhone. But what she seemed most upset about was they took my mace and my knife. Now, of course, I was thinking, what was this girl doing with mace and a knife? But what I said was, what a greedy burglar. Come here. Now, don't get me wrong, I was the perfect gentleman. You know, I did anything that a gentleman would do for a lady who just got robbed because she was watching his hilarious stand-up. You know, I helped her try to track her iPhone with the GPS function. I tried to help her cancel all her cards. I put a decoy purse by the window and filled it with mouse traps. But it turned out our efforts were in vain. Not the mouse traps, that actually worked really well. But it turned out that the iPhone's GPS tracking function can be foiled by this trick that thieves have started to crack wise to. It's a trick called turning the phone off. It also turned out that this particular thief, had cracked wise to the canceling all your cards trick. So he'd taken pretty much everything that wasn't cash out of her wallet and just strewn it across our balcony on his way out. So the next morning, my brother and I discovered this awesome crime scene he had left us, you know? There was just this trail of her stuff leading off the balcony. It allowed us to not only follow his exact trajectory off the balcony, that let us get a glimpse of his train of thought as well, you know? It was great. It was just like a crime scene out of that show Scooby-Doo. For those of you not familiar with Scooby-Doo, which is apparently a lot of you because that was hilarious. For those of you not familiar with Scooby-Doo, it's a show about a gang of hippies who, and a Great Dane with a speech impediment, who drive around in a van solving the type of mysteries that a bunch of drug-addled kids and a talking dog would be capable of solving. Now, these cases usually involve some sort of monster, like a vampire or a banshee or a werewolf, that's tormenting the type of community that needs a van full of high school dropouts to come point out that it's probably a guy in a costume. But anyways, my brother and I, we had a great time with this trail of clues. We were just reenacting the whole crime as it went down. You know, we were saying, oh, here, he must have been like, what was this girl doing with mace and a knife? Well, they're mine now. You know, over here he must have been like, well, that gentleman inside is going to help her cancel all these cards anyways. Oh, and over here he must have been like, well, gee, I don't need to be reminded to do anything on this to-do list. But at the very edge of the balcony, we found her coin purse. It was unzipped. So we figured the thief must have opened it, been like, what was this girl doing with all these wristwatch batteries and bottle caps? Was she collecting scrap metal? So I told her the next day, I said, hey, save for your folding money and your iPhone. The thief actually left a bunch of your stuff on our balcony. And she said, oh, great. Did he leave my mace and my knife? And I said, well, no, but it was really cool. It was like Scooby-Doo, you know? We were following all the clues. We found his mask in the bushes. The thief wasn't a werewolf after all. She said, oh, good. Well, at least you found my werewolf mask. Thank you.